Hey there, Schwermetallisch here. Yeah, I had the opportunity to talk to Olof Wikstrand of the band Enforcer, and of course, the pronunciation is very hard for my German tongue, and I did it wrong again a few seconds ago, so bear with me. Yeah, I was quite excited to do this interview because I'm a big fan of Enforcer, and yeah, I was a bit nervous. I maybe fucked up the entire interview. We will see. I guess you will comment on that if it's totally rubbish. But yeah, check it out, have fun, and stay safe out there. And I'm speaking to Olof Wikstrand of the band Enforcer. Hello.
Oh,
Uh, was the pronunciation of your name correct?
the thing with the pronunciation of my name is that it sounds different in every language. I mean, I probably have the most Swedish name in name history. So I mean, the Swedish pronunciation would be Olof Wikstrand, but I guess that's pretty hard for a German or an American person to actually say correctly. But whatever, it's fine.
Olof Wikstrand.
Oh, it's good enough.
The D is silent. It's a silent D. Okay.
Wikstrand. Yeah, more or less.
Okay. So yeah, you got a new live album upcoming on the 19th of March this year. Live by Fire 2. Yeah. Second live album of you guys by the same name. You guys have been around since 2004.
Yes.
Feeling old already?
I mean, I feel older than what I did back then, but I mean, in the music business, and especially in the metal business, we're still like embryos compared to, I mean, the giants who are still in this game. You know, the old bands that are still gracing the festival bills year after year. They're at least like 2 generations older than us, so I will probably always feel young playing like metal music, I guess.
Always I think it's awesome if a band is around a little longer. So
Yeah.
you guys have 5 full-length albums out, and I made a video recently in German language crying about my favorite bands always disbanding.
Yeah.
And they always disband after 3 albums or 2 albums. So you are good to go with the World 5 and the second live album coming out. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, you are always mentioned as spearheading the new wave of traditional heavy metal. What do you think about that?
I don't think anything about new wave of traditional heavy metal. I understand that it's something that we created, more or less, but I'm not very aware. I'm just focusing on what I want to do, and what we want to do with Enforcer. I don't really put any type of focus on other bands who are. I mean, I'm seriously like, I'm happy that we inspire people to play traditional heavy metal in the 21st century, but I'm not really aware of any movement or anything. As far as I'm concerned, we're alone in what we're doing.
Yeah, it's more loosely based than a real movement.
I understand the concept, but I don't see us as part of a wave or anything like that. No, I think that, like I said, that's something that we accidentally created, which I'm very happy about, that we inspire people. But in terms of a wave, no, I don't. I don't really relate to any other bands.
Yeah, okay, there are contemporaries of you that are also mentioned in the same wave, but I really think it's more like some journalist got lucky
No, I
creating a
understand.
new
I mean,
term.
it's the same thing, but to me, I think that Enforcer is bigger than any like conceptual wave. I mean, it's like Iron Maiden are bigger than new wave or British heavy metal. Is I think it's the same thing,
Yeah,
more or
of
less.
course,
And
of
I don't
course.
like, yeah. No, I felt a part of something in the very beginning when it was like a few bands that were like working towards the same goal, like us and Portrait maybe, and maybe In Solitude and Canadian Cauldron. And I think that we had something in common. But after that, I more or less just focused on on ourselves. You know, we drifted away, very far away from where we were in the beginning anyway. So it's like I
Yeah, I get that. Zenith was a album that it was like a breakout of the chains that sometimes bind a band to their own style. So you did a lot of different styles on your last output, and not everyone was happy with it. And I I even wrote a second review.
oh, it was like you, yeah.
Yeah,
I think I read that, yeah. Oh yeah. You did. Where you where you were like, I actually like this, yeah.
no. It was. Fuck you. I actually liked this the first time, and after I really delved into it and listened to it really in depth.
Yeah.
I realized I really love it.
Oh, that's good. So you were one of the people who understood what we were doing, I think. Um, I think the biggest problem is that it's like people who wants to genreify us, who think they know what we are, and they want to put us in the same context as other new wave of like traditional heavy metal bands, who are basically, in my opinion, are just prestige bands. We are not prestige. We are not a homage band. We are the real deal. I think it's very important for a band to be creative and never to try to recreate something, but always follow your heart and do what you want to do. And if you understand that, I think that you will appreciate Zenith. But if you think that we're going to do something that is like pastiche and almost like ironic to like a ironic tribute to the new wave of British heavy metal, then I understand that you're disappointed, but that's never what we intended to do. Never in our entire career. Maybe on the
um,
first album, but that's like after first album is we're only focused on doing something that feels right for us and do like something that we feel is inspired and good. But I mean, I only write music for myself anyway, and if I would like take into account what people on the internet think, then it would be the most boring, the most like generic music you could ever think about. And I'm not about that, you know. I have more musical. I believe that I have more musical integrity than so.
I really have to say that on Venice, I um, I think you managed to show the listeners and even maybe even other musicians that you can worship the style or the feeling of another band without losing the character of your own band itself.
I think so too. I mean, the idea was that we were gonna do something. I mean, a heavy metal album that was like my inspirations as an album as a whole was to do something similar to Sad Wings of Destiny, or maybe like or maybe Taken by Force by the Scorpions. You know, an album where every song really stands out from each other and together builds like a huge entirety, instead of like focusing on, oh, everything has to be so fucking true to the style all the time. I mean, I want the entire album to be a trip from first second to the last second, you know. And that was the idea, to really make everything stand out from each other.
It felt a bit like a big buffet of the best the 80s and the early 90s had to give, interpreted by Enforcer.
But you know, I never even think about if it sounds 80s or 90s or anything. For me, I live my life like the 1990s never happened. I mean, I'm so incredibly uninterested in 1990s metal and 2000s metal. I'm just like, I listen to 1970s and 1980s like rock and metal, and that's what I am. I mean, when everything became like about baggy jeans and chugga chugga riff, dude, that's not even metal if you ask me.
Yeah, looking back, I even had the feeling that there was no metal and rock in the 90s. It was
No,
all,
I really agree with you.
yeah.
Metal did not exist in the 1990s.
And if you,
Unless if you
research,
listen to, if you, I mean, or rather the metal became a part of of an underground movement, which was like carried. I mean, I think the black metal bands carried the torch of real metal attitude in the 1990s while they were still underground. When the black metal thing became like became a hype thing, that's where metal died, I think.
yeah, the underground is difficult to maintain. If you get the slightest idea of success, it's over.
I don't think it's about that, but it's about like when concepts gets like exploitated. Is that a word? No, but I mean when if we talk the black metal scene as a movement, I mean in the very early days of, for example, Scandinavian black metal, like when you talk about these bands like Mayhem, Burzum, and Darkthrone, they did the real fucking deal. When this becomes like when this becomes becomes a commercial thing, and you get all these bands such as like Dimmu Borgir or Cradle of Filth or all those bands, it's not the same thing anymore, because then you have taken something that was cool and you have commercialized it, and bam, it's not real anymore.
Yeah,
But you can trace that
it's
back
like a
to
puppy.
but you can trace that back to any genre more or less. Same with thrash metal. It was like the coolest thing, thrash metal in the middle of the 80s with like first Exodus album or first Metallica album or stuff like that. But then when it becomes like commercialized, it becomes the most mundane, boring shit ever. I mean, thrash metal from after 1986 is like, to me, is like the most fucking generic shit you can put on.
Yeah, the commercialized
Yeah.
thrash is not very good. That's
No.
true. Yeah, and in between there's a few bands that are really still really pissed and still very underground.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you ever heard the name Blood Tsunami.
Yeah, from Norway.
Yeah, these guys are so pissed.
Yeah, I remember those from early 2000s. They were actually a band that we listened to like way back, because before the new wave of thrash metal, I think Blood Tsunami was one of the black thrash bands like in early 2000s. They were like one of very few bands who did like thrash metal like in a honest way, I think. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't. I'm no underground nerd in any type of way. I don't give a shit about like underground standards and what you're supposed to think or what is true or hip or not. I mean, this is like, but for me, it's more of an attitude. You know, to me, it's more about like when music feels real and when it doesn't feel real.
Yeah. There's a lot of bands, big bands nowadays that don't feel real to me or feel like
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, I don't
bubblegum.
think that there's very few bands of today that I think still like has that thing.
Um, what band do you think of that still has what it takes? For example.
Yeah, for example, I always take German Vulture as an example. I really think they have something special, and you can really feel that they are really true to what they're doing. Um, they they have a certain style, but they always do it with character, with their own character, I think. And more bands I can mention is like Cauldron, perhaps. You know, when you hear a Cauldron riff, you can instantly hear that it's them.
Yeah.
It's just that you got to have some character, man, to get me going at least.
So that is a question. I don't know if it's easy or if it's ridiculous or if it's very, very hard. What is your favorite song to play of
our
your
songs.
own band? Yeah.
Oh wow, I know it depends. I mean, to me, it's I mean, when you're playing live, it's like a dance with the audience. You know, it's like the song that works best with the audience that night is probably the song that I enjoy the most. And the song where we can like engage the audience in the best way. And that depends on where and when. So it's always different, I think. But I mean, I one song that's been a live favorite has been From Beyond. Because it's I mean the simple chorus, it's always, I never have to sing that song because it's like I can just stand in the audience and let the audience sing the song, and that's a pretty good feeling. And even on small shows, you know, everybody knows it, so that's a pretty good feeling.
It's a great song.
Yeah, that's a live favorite. Or some song where you really can get like the audience going. We've been taking this old song, Live for the Night, into the live set like for the past few years, and it always like gets the crowd going because it's like fast, aggressive, and super simple.
Yeah, it's number 7 on the new record.
Yeah.
I have to say I am really looking forward to the review because there are really great tunes on that Live by Fire 2 record. 1000 Years of Darkness is one of my faves of the last one of NF.
Yeah.
And I think there was a bit of Manowar in that.
In that song, or
towards the end.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
or
fucking
you mean
great.
In the album or in the song?
In the song, and there were I think 2 or 3 songs that had a Manowar vibe.
Yeah. I mean, I can't deny that. There's I wanted to bring in some epic metal in the previous album, where
you did.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So yeah.
My favorite songs of you guys are always those that I fail to sing myself.
Yeah.
From Beyond is quite okay, but you have moments where you go so over the top high, that you lose me. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
But I love vocals like that. The high.
I love vocals that sing. You know, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like those bands who sound like Cookie Monsters.
Yeah, well, I can appreciate that too, but it's just like it's like everybody does that since 20 years back. So you know,
That's
you just want to do something different. Yeah.
So this is a question you have heard a few times already, I think.
Yeah.
But what are your main influences as a musician?
I mean, it's always first of all, it's always different. Secondly, it really depends. I mean, like we talked about in the beginning, I think it's very important for me to not to I mean, maybe the concept of Enforcer has been inspired by a certain type of bands. You know, to create this type of band, obviously, it was like bands such as Iron Maiden, like Venom and Exciter. You know, but I also think it's kind of important to not look at those bands too much while creating songs, because we don't want to end up to like be a copy of those bands. We just want to do our own thing, and then we have the concept. But then, I mean, I can listen to what inspire me to write music is not necessarily that music, but it could be just anything I listen to. Like even if I accidentally hear some shit on the radio, is I can, you know, pick up something from it, and you know, because in the end it's about music, I think. So no, literally everything I hear, everything from Baroque music to jazz to extreme black metal. I mean, it's like everything, you know.
Yeah,
Because I don't think you become original if you just want to sound like a bunch of other bands, you know.
I think it's more the spark.
Yeah,
It's the spark that you listen to. I don't know. We Will Rock You for the first time, and it's like, okay, I want to be a singer,
yeah,
and not okay. I want to be Freddie Mercury. More
yeah,
like, okay, I want to do what he does, but
yeah.
as me, like that.
I think a lot of new bands forget that. Like what it comes back to is like originality and like creativity and character. You know.
Yeah, it's. I think everything has been invented at this point in time, and I think maybe some bands are just like, okay, fuck it, we will
Yeah,
do stuff like that,
yeah.
and we will look
But
like that.
yeah, but I mean, my goal is something different. My goal is to drive the entire genre forward. You know, take what I'm inspired by, and then take it to the next level. And that's my goal with this band. Not to recreate. I don't want to do an Iron Maiden album or anything like that. I want to do an Enforcer album and take the entire heavy metal genre to the next level. Go back to where things went wrong and do it right. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
fixing the scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what are your plans for after this shit show of year number 2 in this pandemic?
Well, in terms of touring or live shows, you cannot really plan a lot of things. But we've been, I mean, we've been we've been recording, and there's definitely gonna be some new studio material, and that's the next goal. Sometime I hope in the beginning of this year or first half of this year at least, as soon as like the hype around the live album has like gone down a little bit, so we can promote that properly. But yeah, first half of 2021 we're gonna have new studio material.
Ah, nice.
Yeah,
I know I will get that and review it.
yeah,
So that's nice
you're
for me
welcome.
too. At this point in your career and your I see Enforcer as one of the big bands today. You're signed with Nuclear Blast, and you have multiple long players out, and you're touring very much
Yeah,
when possible. So, is there still a dream lineup for a tour you haven't already played?
I mean, to me at this point, it's more. I mean, since like those personal goals has been reached, like when it comes to like meeting your heroes, or be on the same festival bills as your like childhood heroes. I think I mean that happened like pretty quickly into our career. Like right now, I'm more about, you know, bringing as much exposure to the project that I possibly can. You know, so maybe my dream tour wouldn't necessarily be like the tour with some obscure old heavy metal band that I worshipped when I was 16, but maybe some band that we actually can steal some fans from or get some exposure from. You know what I mean? Something that is like maybe a little bit more relevant for people who listen to metal today.
You mean more like cross promotion?
Yeah, we need to conquer them, and we need to like push heavy metal down their throats instead of the shit that they're into now.
Makes me think of Rocky IV.
Yeah.
when all the Russians started to chant Rocky.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Oh,
would
you know
be
what
nice.
I mean? Yeah. Because we gotta, like, in order to save heavy metal, we gotta conquer those people.
Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah.
Sir.
Yeah.
So there's an old saying that you shouldn't meet your heroes. Would you say that is true or not?
No, I think that could both be inspiring and also like, and also not. I mean, I'm not. I mean, the biggest problem is that I'm like, from meeting my heroes and playing all these festivals and these tours, is that I'm not really a fan anymore, which I can miss sometime. You know, I feel more like I'm in a business with these people. You know, even though we're not like, you know, we're just a tiny fraction of the way to our goals compared to those guys. But you know, since I met these people and everything, they're more like, now they are more like human. Like when you were 10 years old and you listened to your favorite bands, they were gods, unreachable. And I would say that's the biggest difference.
Yeah, but I know what you
Yeah.
what you mean.
Yeah.
Because even if I'm doing interviews, it's sometimes like, oh my God, I'm interviewing you for example. Yeah, I'm a big fan. You know, I wrote that one review two times. So you mentioned being in a business.
Yeah.
And does Enforcer still feel like a band or like a brand?
What is even a band today? I mean, seriously. We are not four guys who go down to the rehearsal place twice a week and drink beer and play music and laugh about it like we were when we were 18. So in that type, in that sense, we're perhaps not a band, but we unite under the concept of Enforcer, which could be more seen as a brand, and we're good friends, all of us, and we do stuff together. I would say we're both a band and a brand, you know?
Yeah, I think that the differences that go along with the business is that you can be a bunch of friends making music.
Yeah.
You can work together like your company.
Yeah.
That's still cool. Or you can become a brand like I don't know, Lady Gaga or people like that.
I mean, we don't make enough money to even like capitalize on the brand on that level. So I mean, yeah. By the way, I have another interview, so maybe we can do one or two quick questions if you have a lot more.
No, that was all of my ammunition for today.
I'm sorry, we're 3 minutes over. I'm sorry if it was too tight planned.
This song is called From Beyond.